What is up, everyone? Today I will do something stupid. I will compare two lenses that are actually the same. Or are they? So join me on this journey and stay tuned. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Today I'm doing not a review. No, it's not a review. No, it's a comparison. And it is a comparison of two lenses that are actually the same. But there are quite a lot of differences between them, so I thought it would be quite interesting for you and for myself as well to have a look what the differences are and if they are noticeable. Yeah, so guys, what you're looking at are two lenses from Leica, and on the left the silver lens is the Leica Summicron 50mm f2M mount, and on the right you have the black Summicron R 50mm f2. So they are the same focal length, they are the same aperture, they have the same optical design, but they do go for quite of a different price tag, which made me interested in how they compare to each other, and that is what we want to find out now. So guys, let's get the first thing clear. What you are looking here at is the current eBay price for the M version of the Summicron. In this pristine condition it is listed at 2,800 euros. So how much cheaper is the same lens design and the same formula for the Summicron R in good condition? Yeah, we have to really compare prices by the condition. So this is really good condition, and the Summicron R as well, and there you go guys, it is 285 euros. So there is a price difference of 2,500 euros. 2,500 euros price difference between those two lenses. So why is that? That was the question I've asked me, and that is the question I try to answer today. Is there a difference, and how much should this difference be worth? So yeah, join me on this journey. So now that you've seen the difference in price tag, we need to analyze those lenses a little bit more. So you see them here right now laying down on the table. But you can see a lot of differences. So while the M version is quite sleek and thin, the R version is a lot bigger in size. So yeah, there is a difference. So now let's talk first about the way these lenses are used, because that is quite a difference in that. Those lenses belong to quite different types of cameras. So let's show you the cameras. So guys, here you can see the difference in the cameras they belong to. Let's put one thing out clearly now. The M version has an M bayonet. This is not my lens, this is the lens of my grandfather, and it was used on his lovely M3, which I don't have at the moment. What I do have is this lovely Leica 2, also belonging to him. The one problem is that I can't actually use this lens on this camera, because this camera has has the M39 screw mount, while this has the M bayonet mount. So this lens and this camera actually don't go together. But the M3, which this lens belongs to originally, is quite similar from the design and from the features than this Leica 2. So we have the M lenses are for rangefinders, and especially for coupled ones, which is not the case by the Leica 2, but yeah, you get it. It's a rangefinder lens, while the Leica R lenses are for the for the SLR type of cameras. So in this example I have my Leica Flex SL2 in the background, which this lens can be mounted on. Yeah, let's do that. So you do that by connecting the red dot to the red dot on this camera and snapping it into place. There you go. And this would go in there, but yeah, like I told you, it doesn't. So one difference between those lenses is that the R lenses are for the SLRs, while the M lenses are for the rangefinder. Now let's talk about that difference a little bit more. Okay guys, there you see the cameras lying down, and one thing should be popping out right to you. The important thing about lenses is the difference between the shutter, the film plane, and the lens. And you can clearly see the difference here. The Leica 2 with its bayonet is the height difference is quite a lot smaller than the height difference in the SLR. That is because of the mirror that is flapping up and down in here. So while you have something like that as a difference between the film plane and the lens, you have in here nearly triple the amount of space from here. Now you see that? That is quite a noticeable difference. And that means we should have differences on the lenses. So let's talk about this problem first. Because if you have the right adapters, those lenses can be used on other bodies. So if you look at on the Leica R lens, which sits in here, if you have the right adapter, you can adapt this lens to the Leica 2. But on the other side, if you have this lens, which should be mounted like so, you can't adapt it to the Leica Flex. That means, the Leica R lenses are easier to adapt because you can use them on original SLRs and on rangefinders. That is one difference. So let's have a detailed look on the lens itself. Okay, so now let's compare these lenses in a little bit closer detail. Let's start with the aperture. I will start with the aperture on the M lens. So you have on the M lens, you have the aperture here on top. It goes from 2, 2.8, 4, 5.6, 8, 11 to 16. So now let's have a look onto the R lens. There you go. You have the aperture ring on the bottom. so that is one difference already. But the steps, but the aperture goes as well from 2 all the way up to 16. So there needs to be one thing clear. If you look at like so, there seems to be no difference. But there is a difference. Let's go back to the M lens. If you turn the aperturing, it goes clicky from 2 to 2.8 to 4 to 5.6 to 8 to 11 and to 16. So you have one step increments and a really lovely click to stop them. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the R lens. So here we have f2. Let's turn it. And we are not at f2.8, we are between it. So this lens stops down in half steps. So if you have to do minor adjustments and finer adjustments with your aperture, the R lens is preciser for you. So that is something to consider. It is easier and finer to step down the R lens than the M lens. But that is not all to the aperture. So let's really have a look at the aperture. Let's go back to the M lens. I hope I can focus this right. So let's stop down the aperture of the M lens. Hope you can see it. There you can see it. So let's open her up and close her down. What you are seeing here is 12 blades working nicely with the aperture in here. So we have a 12 blade aperture. Let's compare that to the Leica R. There you go. There we have it. You can see that. We have a 8 blade aperture. So that might not seem to be a big difference, but it actually is, because the aperture does play a big role if you stop it down for the quality of the bokeh. So it is the bokeh of the M lens should be smoother than the R lens. but we will find out later about that. Another difference in this between those two lenses is when you lift them up. You might think, yeah, of course the R lens is heavier because it has more metal, it's bigger, but you are wrong. If you actually pick them up, the M lens is heavier. That was quite interesting for me to find out, and I think it is because of the better build quality. It goes without saying that a Leica lens has all around great build quality, but the M lens is built to a different standard than the R lens, and it is quite difficult to describe, but the one thing that I personally think a heavier product is a nicer product, and you also can feel the build quality in doing those clicks, and the way the M clicks. I know it sounds really fuzzy and unclear, but those clicks are so much better than the clicks of the R lens. They aren't bad. The R lens does click nice, and it does have the advantage of doing half steps, but you really can't compare them. The M lens aperture is such an amazing feeling thing. It is a mechanical and really satisfying thing to click. Yeah, I think it really does sound quite nerdy, but it really is more satisfying to use this aperture on the M lens. I would compare the R lens more to the build quality finish of the size lenses. It really feels good, and it really feels quality. And the R lenses really are up to Leica quality, but the M lenses, it's a different world. I can't describe it, but it is, you feel the difference. And the aperture is one thing where you really can feel the difference. The aperture ring on the M lens is so much nicer in the feel than the R lens. It really is. So now let's have a look at focusing. Yeah, focusing is something that is really important for myself, because it is what you are doing most of the time in the photography. So let's compare it. Those systems are quite a bit different. And that is because of the different camera types that they are used with. So let's have a look at the M first. On the M we have this little I don't know what it's called, but it is connected right to the focusing mount, and it is used to set your focus right at infinity. So if it is set like here, you actually can't turn the focus. So what you have to do to defocus it from infinity is you have to press down this lever and then turn the focus. And then you are turning this focusing ring just... There are two ways. You can turn it right so with like normal, with your fingers on here, but what you will find yourself doing is, if you're using it on the Leica rangefinder, you will find yourself focusing it with this knob. So you will pushing this knob around, which really is a nice feeling and a really precise and fast way to focus this lens. And it is so smoothly turning. It really is amazing. So let's have a look at the closest focusing distance of this lens. There you have it, guys. It is 1 meter for this Leica Summicron M lens. And to focus from the nearest focusing distance to infinity, you have to turn this knob not even half around. So from infinity to the nearest focusing distance, it's less than 180 degrees, which is amazing for myself because focusing goes really, really fast with this lens. It really does. And if you use it, you will find it really, really appealing to yourself, so that you are able to focus this fast. It really makes the lens quite versatile. The problem is, if you are using this lens at the widest aperture, you can miss focus because fine-tuning the focus is quite a bit harder to do than with if you have more focusing throw. But yeah, I don't have problems with that. It is just something you have to remember yourself. If you are using this lens wide open, be careful with your focusing in the near. So let's go over to the R lens. Yeah, there we have it. And if you turn it, there is quite a big difference. I have to turn this a bit up. Yeah, there you go. There's quite a big difference. The focusing ring has a really big throw, you are turning this lens for nearly a full rotation, nearly. So you see, there is the nearest focusing distance, and infinity is right here on the edge. Oh, I hope you can see that. So here's infinity, and here is the closest one. So 3/4 of a turn to focus this lens from closest focusing distance to infinity. The feeling of this focus is quite different as well. It is smooth, but it doesn't turn that easy. It turns a bit stiffer, but yeah, in a nice way. It is smooth, but you won't focus this lens really fast. You will have to use to use time with this lens. It is really precise in focusing, but it's not fast. It really isn't. I like the focus really a lot on this lens, and for a SLR it is great. It really is, but it's not fast. But and there's a big but. While the other lens focused just to 1 meter, which is right here, this lens can be focused right to 1/2 meter and a little bit beyond, which really makes a heck of a lot of a difference for me. So this lens, with this lens, you can go half the you can go double as near as the other lens. It really makes a heck of a difference. If you do portraiture work and stuff like that, if you want to have a lot of details and a lot of small parts of something, this lens, all the way, this lens really makes a difference in that. But it is just if you are using a rangefinder, you are not photographing stuff that close. You really aren't. The shooting experience on the rangefinder is different, and the subjects you do photograph they are different. You take photographs of sceneries with rangefinders, or of people and stuff like that, and of street photography. That is where those rangefinders are at home, while this is serious in another way. You can do close-ups, and therefore it is more versatile, but it is not as fast, and that is something you really have to know. So now let's sum this up. If we go through the features of just the lenses, they are quite a lot different. And that starts with build quality. The build quality of the M lens is better. You really have to feel it, and they are better. There is no point of saying something different. The M lens is the better build one, which doesn't say that the build quality of the R lens is bad. No, the R lens is built to a really high standard. It is really amazingly good. It is better than most of the high-end stuff out there. It is better than Zeiss and Voigtlander and stuff like that. But the M is better at build quality. It is heavier, it feels nicer, the focusing is easier, and the aperture just kills it. It really does. The feel of the aperture, it's beyond everything I've ever felt in there, and stuff like that. But there are quite a lot of moments where the R lens is better. The R lens, you can do half steps in the aperture, which is quite a unique feature, and many love it. You can control this lens precisely here, and and that's not just with the aperture, it is also with the focus. Focusing is slower on the R lens, but it is really more precise, and you can focus it nearer. The difference between half a meter and a meter in focusing is a lot, and I will show you that later on. So that really is a difference. So that is something to consider. So they are the same formula, but there are a lot of differences. And you shoot these two lenses, you shoot really different to each other, and that is something to consider. It is something to consider if you need this extra minimum focus distance. If you need or if you need fast focusing, or it really depends on your needs. They are different, and you really need to decide it for yourself what you need. So now I have added the right adapters for those lenses to use with my Sony camera. So now you can see the difference between the M and the R. There is a really big difference in height, and that is just because of the different flange distances. And if you see them like that, they are quite a different kind of beast. The width of them really makes a huge difference. So that is something to consider as well. If you have a small camera which is mirrorless, you will be more happy with this because it really fits better onto small cameras. If you have a big mirrorless camera like I do, like a Sony A7 or stuff like that, you can use the big one as well. It's no problem at all. It fits nicely onto the Sony. But for example, for my girlfriend, which uses an Olympus EP3, this R lens technically it would fit, but it is huge on it. And she really would be more happier with this lens. That is something to consider as well. So it depends on what you shoot and how you shoot, which of those two lenses are better for you. So now the next thing that I will do is I will make image comparisons. But I will say something forward to doing those pictures. I will do those pictures with my A7 and I will do them in JPEG for comparison reasons. Yes, I know it's not the best of quality, but we want to have a comparison. And if you use those lenses with RAW, you can push and pull a lot back, but we want a comparison. We want to see how they perform naturally, and therefore I will use JPEG. Something to consider as well is I will do those comparison pictures with a tripod. And so I will build up my tripod and focus, and then change out the lenses, refocus again, and take those pictures. So I'm looking forward to this. It will be interesting to see what a difference those really make. So guys, and that is the view of the M Summicron, and what I wanted to show you is the difference between those minimal focusing distances. What you're looking here at is a bust of Beethoven, and it is real life sized. So I show you that because so you can see what the portraitures, how near you can go to your subject. I focused right on his nose, and that is because there is a little bit of chipped there's a little chip in it, and that makes it easier for me to focus. So yeah, that is the minimum focusing distance of the Leica M. So what you're looking here at is the same camera angle. So I haven't moved the tripod, I just have changed the lenses. So this is the same view, just from the Summicron R. And now I will show you, hopefully, the difference between half a meter of to 1 meter. So first thing to do is focus this lens right down to half a meter, and now let's walk forward until we are nearly in focus. Let's go a little bit down, and we'll have to zoom in. Bear with me, folks. Right, so okay, there you go. That is the difference, guys. Now we are at the minimum focusing distance of the Leica R. So if detailed portraiture work of just eyes and parts of the body is important for you, then I have to say you have to go to the Leica R, not the Leica M. That is quite a difference, I think, in my opinion, and something to bear in mind. That's really, really important. So now let's do the next test. So guys, we are now in the second test. This might seem quite of a little bit of something of an awkward view, but you are looking onto carpet and you are looking through the Leica R again, and what I want to compare is the image quality at the widest aperture, so f2, from the center to the corners. So I will do test shots going from f2 in one-stop increments to f16, and then show you the comparisons. So you are now at the same picture with the Leica M lens. There are two differences that I need to explain to you, and two problems. One problem is that the adapter of the Leica R has a tripod mount, and for my tripod to work I have to use the tripod mount of the Leica R, so the pictures aren't the same. The Leica M sits at the different point than the Leica R. The difference is less than it's something like 1.5 centimeters. So that is one thing to remember. Those pictures really are not the same. The other difference, the other problem which I have is, while doing those aperture comparisons, there is the problem that I run into my auto ISO limiter. So after a while they just go darker and darker and darker. That is the reason for those pictures. At f16 they are nearly unusable. So, but that is something that I need to tell you, but it won't hinder us from doing a comparison. So I will now shoot the pictures with the M lens. Okay guys, now let's come to sharpness. You are looking through the Leica M Summicron, and sharpness is something really important for me, and especially the sharpness at the widest aperture. That is something that I want to compare. So now I have focused you in the middle, and the focus is perfect. So I focused at the tail of this creature that is walking down on the other side of the candlestick. So the focus is perfect, and if I zoom in, which I'm by the way doing right now with at my camera screen. So now let's put this candlestick right to the side. And what I need to do now is I need to refocus the lens. Like so. So now the focus is perfect, and I have to say, in the corner, the image quality at wide open, it's really good, but it is softer than in the middle. So, but it really is not soft, but this is one of the best lenses I own, but it's not perfect. It's not perfectly sharp in the corners, I have to say that. And yeah, it should be clear here from the video as well. Corner sharpness at wide open is not perfect with the M. So now let's compare that to the sharpness of the R lens. So now we are back on the Leica R lens, and you are looking at the same frame as before. And I have to say the center sharpness of both of those lenses is exactly the same, and the sharpness in the centers it's just perfect for a wide open lens at f2. I'm really happy about that result. So now let's have a look at the corner sharpness. So guys, and now we are locked in at the corner and at the side of the image, and in my opinion the Leica R is a bit better in the corners. It's not by much, it's just a little bit sharper, but it really isn't much. It's a tiny difference, and you really have to think about if this difference is really a real world difference. If you will see, though, I doubt that you will see the difference in your pictures, but we have to be fair. We have to I have to point that out. In my opinion, the Leica R Summicron is a bit sharper in the corners. So guys, there you have it. Let's sum this comparison up. We have two lenses that are quite different from each other, but they have the same optical formula. And I don't want to say one is better than the other, because it really does depend. And it depends on quite a lot of things. It depends, firstly, on your style of shooting. It depends on what subjects you shoot. It depends on how much time you have. And it really does depend on what kind of a budget do you own. if you are using a rangefinder, which by the way you could adapt the R to, there would be no problem to adapt the R to a Leica rangefinder, for example. But if you prefer the rangefinder style of shooting, the Leica R would be not really the thing for you. The optical formula, as you have already seen, optically those lenses are not far apart from each other. They are top-notch. You won't get any better image quality of any other lenses. This is the top of the top, and you will get that. It really depends on the style of shooting and on your budget. The Leica M is the bigger technical achievement. It has better build quality, that's a fact. If you want the best thing you can have, then you really have to buy the M. It feels more solid, it feels better built. It has a few disadvantages, as I've already told you. You can't just focus to 1 meter, and the aperture is full stop. But the experience that this lens gives you, the M, it's amazing, it really is. If you are shooting a rangefinder, please do yourself a favor and buy the M. It is also quite a good investment, by the way. So if you are, if you want to invest money in stuff like that, then the M is the safer bet. The R really is amazing, because I find it fascinating that you get so much of high quality German precision manufacturing and highest quality of optics and build for such a low amount of money. 300 euros. That's a bargain, guys. Some of the kit lenses are that kind of money, and you get the best thing Leica could offer at that time, which is not far off the best of today's standard. Optics haven't changed that much at the normal range. That's difference. There is a big difference in old wide angles to new wide angles. There really have been a lot of stuff that changed, but at the 50mm range, you really can't go wrong. And if you are doing in quotation marks, the normal work, where you need to get a little bit closer and stuff like that, then you will definitely be better off with the R version. It is more of a tank and more of a workhorse, in my opinion. But as I've already told you, it really depends on your style of photography and of your budget. And that should sum it up, guys. This was quite interesting comparison for myself. I thought there would be not that many differences, but really there is it's okay that there are two different lenses with the same lens design, because they really do fit different purposes. One customer would prefer the R and one would prefer the M, and that's okay. And now it's up to you to decide which one you would like. So I hope that was interesting for you. It really was for me. Thank you very much for tuning in and have a good one. Goodbye.